Hey guys, my name's Jamie and today I'm going to show you how to set up and configure Locknet's Gamekeyboard on your new Droid X360. This software allows you to map the physical controls to Android games that don't support physical controls. First of all, I'm going to go ahead and make a few assumptions. Number one, I'm going to assume that you are using my ROM neX360. If you're not, I seriously recommend you check it out. The links will be in the description. However, as I said, we're going to assume you are running that. Very quickly, let's just quickly talk about how neX360 maps the gamepad controls to begin with. First of all the controls have been mapped to your standard USB input gamepad key code. So D-pad, up, down, left, right, as well as gamepad A, B, X, Y for the buttons. With the exception of gamepad A, by default is actually mapped to D-pad center, allowing you to sort of select items in the menus. This is also in line with the way that Xperia Play maps its keys. So any apps that you have that have basic Xperia Play support or even just basic USB gamepad support should work out of the box with the Droid X360's controls when running neX360 ROM. A great example would be Xenonia, which has basic Xperia Play and gamepad support, as you can see, without any modifications. The D-pad, the A button, we're working out of the box in a playable way. That's cool. However, what happens if you come up against a game that doesn't support one? Say, for example, here's one I prepared earlier, Across Age. D-pad controls, as you can see, joystick's not doing anything, buttons don't do anything. However, it does have on-screen joystick and on-screen buttons. This is where Locknet's Gamekeyboard comes in handy. Now, the first thing to note is that Locknet's Gamekeyboard is not free. It will cost you $2.99, however, it is money well spent. Here is the page for them. I've just purchased it, as you can see. The next thing to note is that I have actually created a pre-configured settings file for Gamekeyboard and baked it into the firmware for neX360, which means that setting up Gamekeyboard is literally as easy as buying the app, downloading it and installing it. That's it. It's ready to go. So I've just done that there. Let's pop over and find our Gamekeyboard app. Run that from here. There is one or two steps we need to do. First of which is to follow these instructions here. So step 1 says tap here and enable Gamekeyboard from the pop-up dialog. Bear with me a second. There we go, that should focus a bit better. So we need to enable Gamekeyboard from our keyboard and input methods. Okay, we do want to do that. Then we can go back and choose tap here to select Gamekeyboard as our active input method. Now here is the catch. You will need to switch back and forth between the normal Android keyboard and Gamekeyboard when you are playing games and not playing games. It's not a huge deal. You can do it from either in here or you can do it from the settings app. In fact, I'll show you that right now. If you go to your settings app and go to language and input, you can choose default as either English US or whatever your native language is, or Gamekeyboard. For now, let's leave it on Gamekeyboard. Now, returning to the Gamekeyboard app, the last thing we need to do is to see where it says step 3, tap here and test if Gamekeyboard comes out, which it does. Okay, so Gamekeyboard is basically an overlay that mimics the physical buttons on the Droid 360 and allowing you to pass through touch inputs sort of corresponding with the buttons. Let me explain. So what we need to do is flick back to our Across Age, and then at the moment the hotkey program to call up the Gamekeyboard in edit mode, while you have Gamekeyboard enabled, volume up will open the edit mode. And what you can do is you can quite literally just drag the controls around to where you need them. So for example, let's use our left analog stick, drag it over the on-screen analog stick. We'll also move some of our buttons here. Let's put our A button to our attack, X button to what looks like our magic. I haven't played the game, sorry. And we'll put our Y and B buttons over to opening our pack and menu. Press back to remove that, and away we go. And as you can see straight away, using my physical joystick, the touch inputs are being registered. Same goes for A for attack, opening the bag. And you can open this keyboard at any time with volume up and rearrange if you prefer to use the D-pad or the right analog, however you like to use it. The left and right bumper buttons are also there for use. Press back and away we go. Very, very cool. Lastly, when you finish playing your game, like I said, you will want to change back to your standard keyboard. Gamekeyboard does have a built-in text input keyboard, however it's pretty crap. So simply hit Settings, Language and Input, Default, select back to US. Done. That's it, guys. Any questions, feel free to post them on the forums or send me a message. That's about it. Cool.